Community leaders say the increasing number of homemade zip guns and imitation firearms being confiscated in the Cape Flats is worsening violence and gang activity. Leaders say despite zip guns being homemade, they are still deadly. For more on this, we're joined by Western Cape Community Safety MEC Reagan Allen. Mr. Allen, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Let's start off with the LEAP, the Law Enforcement Advancement Plan, and how it speaks to the levels of crime, at least dealing with criminal activity in the Western Cape.
Thank you so much for bringing us into this conversation. I am delighted that we are able to confirm that since 2019, up until the end of last year, the Western Cape per capita was actually the only province that saw a reduction in murders, considering that over 50% of all murders in our province is as a result of a firearm. So we are definitely wanting to remove firearms from our streets, from our communities, to ensure that our communities can live in safer communities. And the Western Cape Safety Plan, and specifically what we have done with our LEAP officers, is to ensure that we can place law enforcement officers in our murder hotspots. So they are in 13 of our murder hotspots. We work on data and on evidence, where to deploy those officers at what time, but also the interventions that they are needing to undertake to ensure that we can ensure that gangsterism, but also the volatility that we are seeing in various communities can actually be curbed. But we would be the first to say that we definitely have a long way to go. But since 2019, this is the only province that have stepped up significantly in terms of our LEAP program. And I must say the following as well. The province, in terms of the constitution, we don't have policing powers. We have oversight. I maintain that our oversight over the South African Police Service must lead to better service delivery. But when we saw the need, when we saw communities' pain, we ultimately put budget aside to ensure that we can place 1,300 of our LEAP officers in our murder hotspots. And we are seeing success in that regard.
So I'd imagine that the Cape Flats are one of those murder hotspots. So let's zone in on that area, because we know that between March 4th and 31st of this year, LEAP officers in Western Cape confiscated 14 firearms, arrested just over 1,000 individuals. Just how much of this success was enjoyed in the Cape Flats vicinity?
It's actually all within the Cape Flats vicinity, because our LEAP officers are not in our leafy suburbs. Our LEAP officers is primarily where the need is the greatest. And I can confirm areas like Mitchell's Plain, areas like Khayelitsha, Harare, Philippi East. I'm currently sitting in Hanover Park, and Hanover Park is also one of our LEAP areas. We also have Philippi East, but we also have Kraaifontein and Atlantis. It is areas where the data showed us the need is the greatest. So the LEAP officers work purely on where we can deploy and where we see where we ultimately have had under-resourcing in terms of the South African Police Service. I can take any person to a particular station, and the station where I'm currently sitting is the Philippi one, which covers the Hanover Park area. Here we are shorting a huge number of officers, and our estimation is that we are currently short of 9,000 SAPS members in our province. Hence, we have had to step in where national government has not prioritized or not effectively ensure that we will get the amount of boots on the ground that we need. I think I am deeply upset still, considering that we should have received an additional 2,600 new SAPS members by the end of March this year. We have not seen that figure. We only saw a figure of 1,080 new recruits coming into the South African Police Service. But also not forgetting 770 over that particular year actually left the service. We are wanting to ensure that the 8,000, 9,000 members that we are short here in the province should ultimately land so that we can see our murder hotspots and areas across the Cape Flats can see a police to population ratio that is actually in line with the United Nations benchmark. The average in our province is currently 1 officer for every 550 residents. Our murder hotspots, the average is 1 officer for over 800 residents. So as a province, we are definitely pushing hard. We remain firm in our commitment to ensure that we actually can see a new policing model where we can devolve policing powers and not have choices made in Pretoria that affects us here in the province. We have our policing needs and priorities, and we want those to be implemented by the national government.